What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got some more really cool news that I want to update you guys on. Some pretty big things in general. There was actually an official announcement that essentially confirms that Destiny 2 leaks we had earlier to now be legit, and also Bungie reduced skill-based matchmaking across all Crucible playlists, so we're going to talk about what those things actually mean. So today Bungie officially announced that the Activision-owned studio called Vicarious Visions, they're helping to work on expanding the Destiny universe, which is obviously a vague way of saying it Destiny 2 or its expansions. And of course, in addition, we also have High Moon Studios, who we've known for a while back have been helping with Destiny 2. So in total, Bungie have a currently estimated workforce around 750 employees, might be more than that by now. High Moon Studios are estimated between 50 and 200 employees, and also Vicarious Visions, the new studio, they're estimated also between 50 and 200. So in total, there's nearly 1,000 employees focused on all aspects of Destiny 2. And of course, this hasn't just started now. Activision said that Bungie have been working on Destiny 2 since 2014, with of course smaller teams, recently the live team, making expansions and more DLC content for us over the years. So them announcing Vicarious Visions is actually a lot more interesting than just seeing more people work in the game, because some of you might remember a NeoGAF user that Kotaku reported on was a guy saying that he had a friend at Activision that told him Vicarious Visions were helping with Bungie make the PC version of Destiny 2, and at that time that wasn't public knowledge, that was completely leaked and kind of rumoured information. So the fact that Bungie have now announced they are working with Vicarious Visions, that now means the original NeoGAF post with all the other stuff he said is now credible, which is very interesting as well. So to refresh your memory, I'm now going to go over exactly what this post said back in September of this year, and of course with the other parts as well that we now know are not just rumours and are actually true. So this post was from someone who was friends with an Activision employee, and he told him the Destiny sequel will indeed be on PC. He added the Activision-owned studio Vicarious Visions is also helping out with Destiny 2, although that isn't public knowledge. I'd heard the same thing a few weeks ago. Earlier this year, I'd heard from a person familiar with Bungie's plans that Destiny 2 is slated for a late 2017 release that will also be on PC. Over the past few months, I've also heard that Bungie's leadership wants Destiny 2 to feel like a proper sequel, even if that means leaving old planets, characters, and activities behind. I don't know exactly how much will change in Destiny 2, but all signs point towards the developer starting from scratch. There's also a quote saying Destiny 2 is a completely different game, said one person familiar with the development, and also The Taken King was a reboot for Destiny 1 to fix small things. Destiny 2 is the overhaul to fix big things. And the post went on to say that one of the terms we'll be hearing very often in Destiny 2, according to sources, is play in destinations, a new activity model that will revamp the Destiny world functions. The plan from what I've heard is that Destiny 2's planets are supposed to feel more populated with towns, outposts and quests that are more interesting than the patrol missions we get right now in Destiny 1. So that was all information from that NeoGAF user, like I said, and because he got the part right about Vicarious Visions, we can safely assume the rest of the info is probably legit too, which of course is really exciting. Of course, it's all very vague info, and most of the stuff we'd probably expect. I think by now pretty much all of us kind of know it's going to be on PC, but especially the things about having more populated towns and outposts and quests that are more alive and more populated than what we have right now in Destiny, that is really cool to hear, and obviously it's the kind of thing we would expect, so it's not really far-fetched rumours that we can't really believe. It's definitely something we would expect and hope in Destiny 2, so all very good to hear. And pretty much all the things we're hearing about Destiny 2 is all saying it's going to be pretty much a new start and a completely different game, a massive overhaul. And they've been saying the reason that Destiny 2 was delayed and didn't come out this year like it was supposed to was because apparently it was like The Taken King and it wasn't big enough of a completely new sequel. It was apparently just like an expansion. So all of these rumors and leaks are all sounding very similar, and they're all sounding like they're going to be correct. Again, they're all from very reliable sources. These aren't just random people on the internet just spouting things of what they hope. So of course, while this info isn't completely specific, we don't know the exact gameplay or details, but it sounds like Bungie is definitely on track with Destiny 2 to be a completely new overhaul and essentially a new game. So moving on from Destiny 2, let's talk about matchmaking, and as it turns out, Bungie have actually made some changes that a lot of people have been asking for and are actually live right now in all playlists. So this is what Cosmo said on the Bungie forums. We've made some changes to the matchmaking system in an effort to increase match quality. We're expanding the available skill range from other players earlier and more aggressively. We'll also be looking for lower latency matches for longer than before. Essentially, this puts a stronger bias on connection quality with less emphasis on skill matchmaking. This may result in longer matchmaking times in some cases, but for some of you this could mean that you'll be matched with opponents well outside your skill range. We hope the trade-off is worth it to improve the Crucible ecosystem in general. So once again, these matchmaking changes are now live in all playlists of the Crucible, obviously excluding Trials, which has its own matchmaking based on your passage card, but it's really cool to see them listening to the community and reacting actually so quickly. It was only like a few weeks ago the topic was really blowing up all over the forums, so pretty quick for them to actually adjust the matchmaking algorithm and actually make a change that we wanted. Obviously, we don't know how much they've loosened that skill range. It could be a tiny bit that's not even noticeable, or it could be a massive amount that is back to like year one and how a lot of people are asking for. So what this means essentially is the games are going to be a little bit more extreme. In some games you might get absolutely stomped by people way above your skill level, and some games you may be the ones that are stomping over other team and probably mercy ruin them. For the most part, things won't be drastically different. You're not going to be suddenly matched with a bunch of level 5s that have just unlocked Crucible, but as I said, you will sometimes be matched with players outside your skill range, and that's going to have a bigger focus on connection instead. So that includes people way better than you and people way worse than you. It goes both ways. So honestly, that is exactly what I want. I think most people wanted. Obviously, we can't remove skill-based matchmaking altogether. It needs to be there in some kind of capacity, but reducing is definitely what a lot of people are going for. But honestly, that's exactly what I had wanted personally. I love the idea of matchmaking being more random and based on purely connection. And some games you stomp on people, some games you get stomped, but it's not this kind of boring everyone is exactly the same level and games are so close that one kill decides to win, which you experience quite often. And mainly the fact of you being put on a team where you've got no chance of winning and the enemy team is like in a 6-man and it's kind of unwinnable from the start. But regardless of skill, the best takeaway from this is definitely the connection, which most people were wanting the skill-based matchmaking reduced to 4. This should hopefully mean less matching with people from the other side of the planet where you both have bad connections to each other. So make sure you hop into the Crucible and give matchmaking a go. They did say that one downside to finding the better connection games is that you will on average spend a longer time in the orbit actually searching for games, and that's pretty much inevitable. I mean, it's one or the other. You can't have really good matchmaking and also have it be really quick, essentially an either or situation, but I'm perfectly fine waiting another 30 seconds in orbit if it means a very good connection game and people aren't skipping around the map being unkillable and being red bars essentially. The one downside is that Iron Banner is of course on, which I think is a bad time to test the matchmaking, because obviously the mode is generally tending to be more sweaty and known for bad connections, and of course the majority of players are also in this one Iron Banner playlist, with the rest of them being really underpopulated. So if you go into games like Skirmish and Clash and all the other ones, they're going to be really underpopulated, so it isn't going to be a good gauge for how matchmaking is. So of course once Iron Banner is over it should be a better test, but either way skill-based matchmaking has been reduced officially, which is definitely awesome to see from Bungie. So there you have it, those are some of the latest announcements from Bungie and some cool things to be aware of. Of course, any more news, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already and you don't want to miss out on my future videos. But a like rating would be much appreciated if you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.